So, and she would bring the newborn child of that day, all the children newborn of that day, one by one she would put the child on Baba's lap, and Baba would play with it and caress it and then give it back to the nurse, and she would go. Now, she didn't know anything about Baba. We couldn't imagine what instinct, what prompted her to do that, because it was such a blessing for the little one that to be in Baba's lap, to be touched by Baba. I mean, what real service that nurse did to her little charges. We could know, but we couldn't imagine how she would know. So, and now, yes, and now another. They were puzzled. Everything we did was very puzzling. I mean, this Baba's presence was puzzling. They knew that he was. They felt happiness in just his presence. They could feel Baba's divinity without being told about it, and they dare not even ask, but they did everything as if they knew who Baba was. And one of the puzzling things was that, you see, we lived a very simple life. It had to be very economical in those days. I mean, our beddings would be meager, the blankets would be patched, pillowcases would be a very coarse cloth, and all that sort of economy. So, here we were, and Baba had Chanji as the one going in between the doctors and himself to tell them that they should not stint. They should get any medicine that was needed, any expensive doctor's fees or expenses, medical expenses were not to be spared in the least, and that because there were no antibiotics in those days, and it was very dangerous. But in fact, some of the nurses put a little Bible under my pillow because they thought, oh, Mani is going to die, and that to say. But while all that was being done, when no expense was spared, yet those nurses would see that the cups that Naja and I were drinking in, that we had brought them from home, the handle was broken, the saucer was cracked, the spoon was bent, the tiffin carrier had, instead of a clasp, a safety pin on it. Is it all right? Had a safety pin on it. Our sheet had patches on it, and it was most extraordinary. We were like poor tramps in everything else we had. Our clothes were very well donned and all that sort of thing. And yet here, we were spending money on medicines which none of the other patients would think of, because they said, but this, yes, we can get this, but this would cost us like anything. And Baba said, go ahead. And another thing is, of course, Baba's way of repetition of something, or he would tell Chanji, go tell the doctors, is this injections all right? Shouldn't she be given this? So Chanji had to go and ferret out those doctors, and they would say, yes, it's all right, but if you want, you can give her this, but it's better to give her this, it's not necessary. So Chanji would come back and tell Baba. In 10 minutes, Baba said, no, you go back and ask them that instead of calcium, shouldn't it be this? And so poor Chanji had to pester those doctors. In the end, I could see that when those doctors left their cottages, they first looked around, is that man around? And then Chanji, from this block of the hospital building, would look quietly as to say which side they're coming on. They'd think, oh, that man is nowhere around. Once they were out in the open, out would pop Chanji from this wall. Immediately we'd see they'd take a roundabout turn and pretend they were coming on that side. Chanji knew the tactics, so Chanji would run this side of the block, and before they knew that he'd be right in front of them, and they had to answer. He knew that they were being, feeling uncomfortable, and he felt so embarrassed, but this is Baba's way, back and forth he did it. But I was 17 then. This was in 1936. And of course, Naja was with me, but the Mehra, Khorshid, Kaku, Masi, Valu, and the other women who were at home, they were doing a lot of things behind the scenes. They had to manage all the cooking by themselves, and washing Baba's clothes and their own things, and doing things for me. My clothes would be sent there to be washed, ironed, and all that sort of thing. Then later, Baba, when I was quite well and about only a few days left in hospital, Baba would come only once, and in the last few days he did not come at all. And then the nurses were really frantic, running around, when is Baba coming? Why isn't Baba not coming? And then Baba would send in the afternoons either Kaku or Masi. Those were the gatekeepers at Meherabad, up on the hill when we were staying up on the hill at Meherabad at the time when we left for Mysore. And so Kaku also at Masi also had come to Mysore. So Kaku was told by Baba to relieve Naja for a little while. She was Vishnu Master's mother of Vishnu Master. And she was quite oldish, an elderly person. And she had to come and relieve Naja, because the Naja could go home sometimes for the afternoon. So Kaku would come in, and I was just about getting up from bed and walking about a little, but still I would be tired. Then Kaku would come and in a loud voice, very genial, how are you, Mani? Everything fine, all that? And then she must have been so tired doing the housework at home, so she'd come and sit on my bed, and then before I knew, she was flat on my bed and snoring, and here was I on the chair wondering when she would get up, because I was so tired sitting on the chair. And after a while, Kaku would get up, and and all the nurses would come around. I mean, everybody loved Kaku. Kaku was like that. And she would make pan, which is that beetle leaf that everybody loves. She would make for all the nurses, and she would give one to each. And then when I came home, I told Baba about Kaku sleeping on the bed, and Baba teased her. And it was very lovely. But we used to play badminton there too, in the compound. In Mysore also, where the bungalow was, wherever we went, there would be, the compound would have an enclosure of that palm leaf thing, bamboo matting. So that was covered, but it was a big grounds left space inside the courtyard, which was enclosed by the matting. There was enough ground there, and Baba loved sport and exercise, so he used to play badminton with us, just like he used to do up on the hill at Meherabad. I think it's somebody else's turn now. Mera will say something now. I'm going to get this.
When in USA in 1952, when we were traveling from the Meher Center on the lake, Elizabeth was driving the car and Baba was in the front seat, Mani, Meheru and myself were in the back seat. And after traveling for some days, we were going to California, and Baba one day told Elizabeth to drive fast. So she drove the car fast. Then Baba said, still fast, faster, Baba said, more fast. And so Elizabeth drove the car faster, and Baba would still say, still faster, like this. So Elizabeth, she was touching 90, and it was rather dangerous like that, but yet Baba would tell her, and so she did. Now it happened that when this accident happened, the one experience I'm going to tell you is about myself, is when this accident happened, it was Baba's grace that I did not know how this happened. Because when it actually happened, I see that a car has bumped into a car, and I had a jerk. So having a jerk, I hit my head. This is what is actually a vision I see. At the time of the accident, or soon after, that I don't know. But it must be at the time of the accident, because I did not know how the accident happened. So our car has bumped into another car has bumped into our car, and we get a jerk, and so my head is hit. So I put my hand to my head. So Baba turns round, he's seated in the front seat, and Baba turns round, asks me, are you hurt, Mehra? Are you hurt? He's turning round and asking me. So that Baba should not worry, I tell Baba that, no Baba, it's not much, very slight, no Baba, I'm not hurt, no Baba, there's nothing to worry about. And so I'm putting my hand on my forehead trying to hide the spot. And Baba said, but are you hurt? I said, no Baba, not much at all Baba, no Baba. And so Baba's asking, Mani, is she hurt? And that much I see. And after that I was unconscious so much that then after I didn't see this vision, but I was safe from concussion, because the doctors were very surprised because my head was very badly hurt. That they say it would have been concussion.
Concussion, the only was
No, not in the head. Concussion. Well, there was a slight concussion, but I was saved. And but Baba was very seriously hurt. His leg was broken, his arm was broken.
But Baba said it was a miracle that you
The Baba was thrown out of the car and he was very seriously hurt. Not a groan, not a moan. Baba was so helpless he couldn't break his silence by even groaning. So he silently suffered. And that is because his love for us, for all humanity. He suffered silently, and when Baba was taken to the hospital, even the doctors were surprised and wanted to know who Baba was, because they couldn't believe with so many. I mean, his leg was completely.
He was having so much suffering.
The bone was broken. It was not a slight fracture. It was completely broken leg at the shin bone, and his hand was fractured. His nose was also very badly hurt. It was broken, and Baba was lying in blood. Baba said his blood would be shed on American soil. He had said that many years before, and we had all forgotten about it. But when this accident happened, we remembered. And so, when we were in Yupon Dunes, after Baba it was very hot there. It was summer and it was a heat wave, and Baba was so uncomfortable with the plaster on his foot. They all tried to help Baba, but it was very uncomfortable for him. He would feel itch under the plaster, and of course he couldn't talk, and now he couldn't walk also, and he was looking so helpless. And Elizabeth then sent for air conditioned, had the room air conditioned, and Baba was somewhat comfortable. And after a month,
when the plaster was removed.
After a month or so, when the plaster was removed and small plaster was put on his leg, Baba, so sweet, so that we girls had not been out of the house for days. For days we had not been outside any outing or anything. So Baba asked Elizabeth and others if there was any sightseeing, any performance in the town that they should take us girls out. And then Baba being all knowing, he knew there was some kind of performance taking place in the town. So he asked Elizabeth, and they found out, yes, there was a horse show. So Baba looked so happy. He said, yes, Meher likes horses, so we must go to this horse show. And so Baba accompanied us to the horse show. And Baba was taking interest in all the horses. And when I turned around to look at Baba, I would say, no, look at that horse. Isn't that a beauty? Isn't that a nice horse? Don't you like this? And Baba would take interest in what we took interest. And so 2-3 times we went to this horse show with Baba.
It was the first horse show. It was the first show of its kind in Myrtle Beach. So Elizabeth was very thrilled that it should be like that, because Baba, knowing Meher loved horses and would love this horse show, it happened then. And do you know, it was the first and the last. Next year, Elizabeth told us later that there were no horse shows next year. So it was just as I said, just for Meher. That's
loving and compassionate. Shows how loving and is concern for everyone. Baba's love and concern for all, and shows Baba's love. It is for every lover who love him. That shows his love for everyone, all his lovers most especially. Jai Baba.
This is a tiny incident. Just a minute. This is a tiny incident that happened in Darshan time in Guru Prasad. There was Baba had given darshan in the morning, and in the afternoon a train from Andhra was coming, and there'd be a large group coming there. And Baba was waiting, as he always did, looking at the time, will they be coming now? When is the train supposed to come, and when will they be coming? So immediately they came. The first thing Baba asked them is, have you eaten? Asked the group head. And he said, no, Baba. And well, why didn't you eat it? And they said, but Baba, it's darshan time, and how can we delay it? We'll eat later on. And Baba said, no, you should have eaten and come, because now all your mind will be in your stomach instead of on me. And very reverently they bowed and took it as an order. And the same thing happened the next day when Baba was giving darshan, and he was waiting for the train for the same group coming from Andhra, and this time it was delayed more than usual. And Baba said, will they be in time? Is the train being delayed? And there'd be phones sent to the station. And the train had arrived, and they came about half an hour later. And Baba said, how is that you've taken so much time in coming? You should have been here earlier. He said, oh Baba, we were having our lunch. And Baba sort of looked at them and looked around and said, here you come for my darshan, and you go thinking of your stomachs. Well, he bowed down, yes, Baba, but you see, last time you told us to eat first and then come. And Baba, pretending all ignorance, sort of thought back to the time, and then he nodded and says, all right, you did right. And there was another time when another person was taking Baba's darshan. He had come with flowers. He was someone whom, one of the closer Baba lovers.
When we were in Nasik in it was 1934, and Baba, after his second visit from USA, Baba gave me orders to be extra strict. That is, I was not to even hear the sound from the road, even men talking and singing and all that. And all the time I had to sort of think about Baba and think of Baba and the work we were doing, occupied inside. Even our thoughts were not to stray like that. I think that's how Baba wanted, and anyway we tried to be like that. So money was given, Instructed. I can't get the words, English words. Instructed. Baba gave orders to Mani.
Mani was instructed.
Mani and Khorshid, small Khorshid, both were to be with me, and it's very Mani patanga Saturday one and so Baba told Mani and Khorshid they must be with me and see that I keep the orders. And Mani had the sitar, so Baba said Mani should play the sitar when we are sitting in the front room that was facing the road. The road was a bit away, a distance away, but yet Baba wanted the sitar. So every time when there was many people on the road, and if we were in that room, sewing or doing any other work, Mani would sit with a sitar and play the sitar very loud and close to me, that to drown the sound of the people on the road. And then Khorshid also was given certain duties. Then Baba told Mani that she must see that I don't read anything. So Mani had to stick plain paper on top of boxes, and even any book lying around, she had to turn them upside down or put them away.
Boxes of Ovaltine, tea, coffee. I mean, not any household goods like tea label. She should not read the word T-E-A-T, so that had to be covered up with the paper, and sugar, and newspapers, of course, had not to be around anywhere, and everything had to be stuck over with white paper so she wouldn't read. No, you, huh?
This Meheru, tell about Meherabad now.
Then when we were going to Meherabad, Baba wanted me to wear goggles, dark glasses, and we were to sit in the bus. We were in the bus, and so I was sitting in such a way that I didn't look out to the window. And Baba had his own reasons for all this. Maybe he was testing. At that time, we did not know he was testing. Only that it was Baba's wish, and we were obeying whatever Baba said. And when we reached Meherabad,
it was Upper Meherabad.
For the first time, we stayed on top of the Upper Meherabad, that's the hill. And it was Prem Ashram first, and we were not allowed to approach that hill. But now, Baba wanted us to stay on
those would be your quarters?
On the hill, and Baba was so strict that from our room to the kitchen, and kitchen to the bathroom, and just like that we had to go. We did not go around the compound or have walks or anything. Like that we were strict. And if we were in the kitchen, there was a big window, and when the person from the bazaar came, one of the Mandali who brought the bazaar, and he was at the gate, the bell would ring, and so Mani or whoever was nearby, they had to shut the window that was facing the gate, and the gate was quite distance away, and of course we couldn't see the gate, but Baba wanted us to observe such strict rules. And of course for years.
Talking about how Meher had to be very, very strict with men, where men were concerned. And once we were on a station, this was in the early years where we had not begun those travelings with Baba. And we were on a station, Meher, myself, and one other, I cannot remember. But for a time it was just Meher and myself. She was wearing these dark glasses, and I was standing beside her holding her hand. This was on a station platform. And then another train came in front, just opposite where we were standing, and a first-class compartment was just, when the train stopped, this first-class compartment was right opposite us. A window was opened suddenly, and a European, a British, an officer of the army, he put his head out and very politely, very nicely asked, excuse me, ladies, what's the time? And Meher turned her head on the side. I stared at him, gawked at him, turned my head away because I couldn't speak. We couldn't talk to men. Meher couldn't talk, and I, being with her, I couldn't talk either. So we both pretended to look the side of the platform. He got a little pink round the ears, a little redder, and said, I say, ladies, all I asked you was the time. Could you tell me what's the time? So we both looked this way and said, Baba, 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 why don't you take this man away from here? What are we to do? Because we felt very bad. He was so good, so polite, so nice, we wanted to tell him the time. So he said, then he thought again, maybe we were deaf too. You see, we were dumb, but maybe we were deaf too. And said, very loudly, said, what's the time? And again we turned our heads and looked the other side. At that, he just bang, shut his window and stayed, and we let out a sigh of relief, but we felt very bad. That was one of our first experiences of snubbing someone, not intentionally, but because we couldn't do it as we could talk. Huh? No, he must have felt we were snubbing him, but we just couldn't help it, and we were feeling terrible about it. Mysore? Now this happened when we were going to Mysore, and that's where my story comes in. Mysore, that's in South India.
This is down. You should put it up. This is the.
It does?
Yes.
It works like Continue. We were talking about Mysore. That was in 1936. We went out of Meherabad after being so strict in Meherabad that we couldn't even come out of our rooms except for something very pressing or emergent, just to go over to the kitchen and back to the room, or to go to the bathroom and back to the room. And then too, we couldn't just go by ourselves. We had to be three of us together. Anyway, this was a major event at that time. We were all to go with Baba to Mysore. And when we got to Mysore, it was a very nice, spacious bungalow where Baba put us up at. I mean, the travel and all is a story in itself. I'll just tell you when we got there. And there again we were secluded, and the men were in another bungalow. We were here, and Baba would be at both places as usual. And then after a few days there, Baba decided that I should go to the hospital every day and have ultraviolet rays, light, you see. In those days, one didn't say why, or one didn't even think what the reason might be, but it was very surprising. But this is what Baba wanted, and well, then I had to go to the hospital every day. The arrangements had to be made so that I could go every day, each morning, and there I would be there for this light, which was only about 10 minutes. But I was there longer than 10 minutes, and as usual, I'd made many friends right there with the nurses and the doctors and the peons and the gardener and the cook, and everybody got very friendly, so that they all saw my face and they got used to me, as it were. And it was a mission hospital where only women, the staff was only women. Doctors were women, nurses, of course, were all women. The ward boys were women, the cook was a woman, the compounder was a woman. The only male staff in that hospital was a very old doddering gardener. Otherwise, everybody was women. And there were these two women doctors. One was English and one was American, who were working there, were very devoted to the poor people and did wonderful work. We loved them very much. Anyway, I would come and go, and it got around so that they could all say, they were calling me by my first name. State Hospital. Calling me by the first name, you know. And then we didn't ask Baba the reason, and we never even thought about it, but it was not very long before I knew the reason why I was kept sent to that hospital for a visit each day without any obvious reason or cause for my going. Oh yes, then not only that, but Nain. And I got so friendly with the doctors, and Baba would ask me when I'd get home, did you talk to the doctors? And what are their names? And who did you talk to? And who was, who you've gotten friendly with? And all these details Baba would ask, and I'd tell him about the doctors. And one day Baba said, ask them, each of them separately. There were three, there were two real doctors and one assistant, as to what kind of a present they would like. So next time when you go there, you will take this present. And Baba had to go for must work somewhere. But I was to tell them that I had to be away for a while so that I wouldn't be visiting the hospital. Naturally, when Baba was not there, I was being with them and not coming to the hospital, but that I would like to bring a present for them. Oh, no, it wasn't necessary. They were very pleased, and then I insisted, and then one of them said gloves, one of them said something else, and third thing. So I went and told Baba. So when Baba went for the masterwork, Baba brought these three things with him and gave them to me and said, now again start your light treatment, and when you go there, give it to each of them from you, which I did. And it was all very nice, social, pleasant, friendly. And then suddenly, one night, out of a blue sky, I had something happen to my ear. It burst, as it were, and it was terrible. I needed an absolutely immediate operation. And it was Sunday. You see, I had to have a mastoid operation, which I did then. But something inside just burst. My whole sheet was, hold it nearer, I was stained with blood, and the pain in the morning, Baba had me sent immediately to the hospital. Now, it was Sunday, but as soon as I got there, I was barely conscious, but when I got there, I heard somebody come here and say, oh, it's money. So they went round, money's come, oh, room for money, rush here, rush there. Then I realized, because otherwise I would be just a complete stranger in a hospital during an emergency. So everybody rushed round, and the doctors were called, and they quickly fixed up a room for me. But they needed a specialist to come and do the operation. The specialist was an Englishman, a personal doctor to the Maharaja of Mysore. And he couldn't be got that day, and Baba had Chanji, Paramrose Dada Chanji, whom Baba called Chanji, rush here and there and call up doctors. His name is Dr. Robinson. And and at last he was located, and he came, and the operation was done, and I went through all that. And as they were taking me into the operating room, the nurses said, don't be frightened, don't worry. And I really wasn't in the least. I mean, the last message was from Baba, be happy, keep brave. Now, my story really doesn't, this is all just preliminary, is that? My story really begins in the hospital. I had a private room, and Naja, she's not here today, Naja was looking after me. So she had her place also in this private ward, where there was a bed and I was there. Yes, Naja was looking after me, you see. And this was after the operation. The first 15 days were very critical. After that, it was all right. And Baba used to come to visit me every day, twice a day, in the morning and in the afternoons. And he whenever his car would come, and the Naja would say, Baba's come, and Baba. Now, the first few days, I was too bad even to realize anything. But after the first few days, I'd see that Baba was sitting by my bed on a chair, and then Baba would ask for an apple or some fruit, and he would peel the apple himself, and he would make bits of it and put one by one in my mouth, and I would eat it, and then Baba would see that what the diet was and how much I was eating. And one day Baba even brought one of the Mandali to make me laugh, and that was Chanji again, and he was told to tell me a joke. And I thought it was so funny. I had such a pain here, but I was laughing. And Baba said, "Isn't it good? Wasn't it funny?" And I said, "Yes." And he said, "Was the joke good?" I said, "The joke I didn't understand, Baba, because I couldn't hear what he said." But then Baba said, "Why are you laughing?" I said, "Because the way he said it is so funny." So Baba himself laughed and he made the others laugh. Now, then what happened was, we began to realize that we, of course, had not to tell anybody who Baba was. He was just my brother. But we were told not to tell anybody that the one who visited me in my room twice a day was Meher Baba, or anything about him, except that he was a family member. He was an elder brother. So, and yet we realized that the moment when Baba's car came, the nurses were suddenly very interested in coming into my room. They would come in, go out, come from this door, go that side, and nurses who didn't have anything to do, nurses who were not looking after me, who were not my nurses, but they would come on some excuse or the other. "Where's the other nurse? Where's the thermometer? Did you see the doctor?" And as they would go by, they would be looking at Baba. And then later, but Baba didn't talk, of course. So one of them was bold enough one day to tell Naja, "But why doesn't Baba," they knew his name is Baba because we kept saying Baba, "why doesn't Baba speak? Why doesn't he talk?" And Naja said, "Oh, he's shy. He's very shy." And then what happened was that Baba would come in, and later on when I was much better, Baba didn't come twice. He would come once. But the nurses didn't know that. And just when it was time when Baba should have come in the morning, there again, those nurses would come in, go out on some pretext, some excuse, and then they couldn't stand it. The next day they said, "But isn't Baba coming anymore?" And we said, "No, he didn't come today." "Oh, but I said, "Why do you ask?" "Oh, but we like Baba so much." And they would all rush to the stair rail, to the stair, at the top of the stairs, you see, landing, and look down as soon as Baba's car would come. And then as Baba stepped out, they would still be looking, but when he was climbing the steps, they would all disperse, as if to appear very casual. And then when Baba was sitting next to my bed, there was one nurse who was in charge of the newborns of the day. And she would go and fetch all the newborn children of that day, one by one. She would bring those babies and put them silently, quietly on Baba's lap. And Baba would look down at the child and play and smile and pet it and smile at the nurse and chuckle and give the baby back to the nurse. She'd run, put that child back where it belonged, picked up another child, brought it into our ward.
Another person had come for Baba's darshan in Guru Prasad. The hall was very crowded, and each one in turn would have the darshan, take darshan of Baba's feet. If they had garlands, they'd offer Baba the garland. And Baba might ask them a question or smile at them, any little gesture that showed that he knew that they were there, no matter how rushed for time or how crowded the room was. But at that exact time when he was garlanding Baba and waiting to receive that gesture, Baba was busy talking to some other lover nearby, and Erich was interpreting the gestures. He stood a second longer, and then he went away saddened that Baba hadn't paid attention to him. In fact, he felt that it was as if Baba didn't even know that he was there. But the exact moment when he was stepping over the Guru Prasad threshold, he was in the doorway, Baba clapped and said, "Send for that person who's in the doorway. Call for him." And immediately it was called out for that person to come, and Baba smiled at him and embraced him and asked after him. And you see what he felt that he hadn't received at darshan time, Baba, he felt very happy with what Baba had, that attention that Baba had given him. It goes to show that each and every one who used to come for Baba's darshan, no matter how crowded the room, how crowded the program, Baba is always aware of each one of their love. He was aware that whoever came, he was aware of each one of them. Okay? Yes. Yes.
Everybody.
There were times you must have seen where thousands and thousands of people came.
That's true. That's true. Because talking of Dr. Grant, his secretary, when she had come to Meherazad, the time when Baba was ill and Dr. Grant had been called, and she had told us that she had come for Baba's darshan. It was so crowded, there was no room in the hall. They were sitting on the veranda, and the thought was passing in her mind that here we are and we can't even see Baba, it's so crowded. And immediately Baba clapped and told Airaj to send for those people. Where is Dr. Grant's wife and the secretary and all who are sitting over there? Call them and make them sit here, so that they've come for my darshan, they should be sitting nearby. She remembered that incident and told us. Come on, Arunavasna, you say something.
Anda pawan pusi saya nanti. Parachute में कहानी थी जाए. Yes, sir. You see, it goes. Huh? Achha. Okay.
You tell about yourself.
Yes. I remember one incident when I was in school. Baba came to Bombay. That means I was a teenager. And at that time, Baba used to come to our house and he was in a mood. So he told Chanji that, come on, let's go to a picture, to a movie. So somehow the nearest movie house was there, and the picture was Marie Antoinette, the last queen of France. And it was a very, very tragic picture. Usually Baba never liked tragic pictures, but I don't know, somehow he wanted to see that picture. At the last moment, he told my sister and me to accompany him. So we went to that movie. In the movie house, there were boxes at the back, and there were sofas like this, and on the sofa, 3 people could sit on them. So Baba was sitting in the middle, I was exactly on his left, as I'm sitting here, and my sister was sitting on the right. Now that picture, that movie, Marie Antoinette, was so tragic that at the height of the tragedy, at the height of the pathos, I started crying. I was crying and crying. And then suddenly I heard Baba laughing. You see, he used to laugh with his closed mouth, but we could hear his voice. So he was laughing, and then he tickled me. So I was very ticklish. So I said, then I turned around and saw Baba, and Baba said, why are you crying? It's just a movie. Nothing is happening. There are actors and actresses, they are just acting, and she's not dying. Why are you crying? And then that tragic moment turned into a comedy. And I never forget the incident, because now when I recall that incident, I know that everything is like a movie. Everything passes like a movie. And just as Baba just as Baba felt at that time that everything is a zero and everything is a passing show. So at that time, he just gave an idea even to us, that why are you crying? This is just a movie.
I understand you went to see the Ten Commandments.
That's right.
Were you present with him at that time?
No, only the
Mandali and Men Mandali with Baba.
No, men Mandali went with Baba, and we women went separately.
Also with Baba?
No.
We've been to many movies with Baba. We've been to many movies with Baba. In the Sarosh talkies here, sometimes we'd have to get up at 4 o'clock in the morning, and Baba would take us to the movies early in the morning, and there'd be 2 or 3 shows. We were absolutely fagged out. Oh, yes. It was not for the general public.
Show arranged by
It was arranged by Sarosh. Yes, in the morning. And we remember one of the last ones we saw was from Meherazad. We woke up early in the morning, the show was over, we returned to Meherazad by 9 o'clock, and we always remember the title of the picture. It was Wake Up and Dream.
Wake Up and Dream.
The picture was not up to much, but the title we always remembered.
In Guru Prasad in 1963, in summer when we were there, Baba gave darshan to the Pune and Bombay lovers. At that time, darshan time, Baba would be seated in his Chesterfield chair and on a raised dais that everybody could see him. And and he was garlanded, he looked very beautiful and radiant. And when the singing of Qawwali is to be sung before him, Baba would look very happy and enjoy every bit of it, because Baba understood every word that was in high Urdu as well as Persian lines in it, because songs are very beautiful when expressed in Urdu, and when it's at its highest, way of expression is some lines are sung in Persian because it's even better in Persian. So Baba used to enjoy those songs very much. And then he would turn round to where I was seated in the doorway behind the other women, and Baba would lean over and catch my eye and say, "Did you like it? Isn't it nice?" And then I would say, "Yes, Baba, we like it very much." But of course I would not say, "Yes, Baba." And then, of course, I enjoyed the tune and everything, but didn't understand the words. But Baba enjoyed it very much. Now, that darshan time, after singing all was finished, the darshan will be over, and Baba would tell the lovers, the devotees, the hall was full of devotees, so much that even on the veranda and on the steps, there were Baba lovers all crowded to see Baba. And so Baba told them, now the darshan is over. A little before 12, Baba would tell them, and now go and have your meal, that is lunch, and then see that you're ready by 2:30 for darshan again. So they all would disperse, and Baba would come in to us, in our dining room, and tell me to give him something soft to eat. So, of course, dal and rice. Baba quickly ate the dal and rice and went to the mandali. Baba couldn't walk very fast, but holding someone's hand, he would go to the mandali and talk to the mandali just a minute or two, and then with the mandali, Baba would quickly come in the darshan hall and be seated in his chair, and the darshan hall was empty because people were told to come at 2:30. So they had planned to quickly eat and come by 2 o'clock. So they were all now coming in by 2 o'clock. Baba, the first people who came in the hall, Baba said, "What? I am ready here to give darshan and nobody's come for my darshan." And Baba said, what kind of love is this? Yes, time is wasted like that. Yes, wasting a chance, and I'm here, not anybody ready to come for my darshan as yet. And so these people feeling how would say, shamefacedly, they quickly would rush in and tell others to hurry up. Baba's in the drawing room and the darshan hall. They all would be rushing from the Guru Prasad gate is far away. They all would run and they would all gather, and then Baba would jokingly tell them a few things, and then of course songs would start and all that. And the next day, next morning when Baba was darshan at 9 o'clock in the seat, and after darshan, before 12, Baba is to tell them to go to have their lunch and said, now see, you must be here by 2 o'clock today. So these people would go quickly. By the time they would go to their places or even under the trees somewhere, open their little knapsack and start chewing and eating and then washing the hands, because if we didn't eat with our hands, so that would take some time. But Baba, so naughty, he would quickly come inside and tell me, serve him something very soft, just a little bit of fruit. If it's mango, so anything, made soft, and mix it with milk and make it like very liquid kind. And so Baba quickly drink that, rush to the Mandali, tell them to come, and Baba was seated in the darshan chair and then wait and then see that nobody's in the darshan hall. And when the first lot came, he said, look what good you are, look at your love. I am here waiting to give darshan and nobody's here to take my darshan. And so these people felt more how do you say, embarrassed. And then they would tell each other, come on, run, Baba's already here. They thought they were going to be early, so they had started to come by 1:30, but even that was late. So next morning then Baba was again giving darshan, and then they were told to go take the lunch by 11:45, and then Baba would come in again quickly, take just half a cup of that soft mango and milk, and then go and quickly be seated in the darshan chair. And those people thinking, now Baba will be here by 1 o'clock, so they had just quickly eaten their food, and Baba was in his seat by 12 o'clock. Baba must have let them go by 11:45, and Baba had eaten and quickly was by 10 past 12 something, and these people were rushing in by 12:30. They're rushing that this time we'll raise Baba, but Baba was still earlier, had raised them and was in his seat and telling them, see, nobody's here and I'm here in the darshan hall. And these people, they didn't know how to. So when next day came, they were so prepared. They were so prepared that when Baba told them to go for lunch, they all made plans that we mustn't go out of Guru Prasad compound. We must all eat under the trees or standing under the sun. But we must eat because Baba's told us. So they quickly opened the knapsack and just chewed a few bites and quickly had a drink of water and washed their hands and rushed in. So they were early as Baba wanted them to be, and that Baba saw that they were in time. So Baba taught them how to be punctual. For darshan, how one must be punctual and eager. So the Baba was very naughty that year, was having a little fun with his devotees. Jai Baba.
This reminds me, as Meher is saying, about the darshan program, how compassionate Baba was. After a full day's darshan program, when Baba would embrace thousands, and he'd be all drenched in perspiration and very tired at the end of the day. And Baba would come in, and Meher would remove the drenched sadra from his body, wipe his perspiration, and put on another sadra, and Baba would be just sitting on the chair and relaxing. And a message from the Mandali side would come that Baba, somebody has come for your darshan, and Baba was very tired and was just relaxing. The message would come that somebody had come to take Baba's darshan, and it was impossible to send the person back because he said that his train was very late and he couldn't help it. And the next day, you see, the Mandali would then say that, no, Baba's he's just finished the darshan, why didn't you come on time? And the person would say, but then the train came in late, and then the Mandali would say, then come the next day for the darshan, because Baba was giving the darshan then. But then the person would say, well, he has to go back because he couldn't get leave. And so they had to send in this message, and Baba, in all compassion, although he was so tired and hot, you see, and before before he had a sip of cold water to drink, well, Baba would go out of his room again into the darshan hall and give his darshan to the 2 or 3 people who had come for his darshan. And this has happened on so many times. And we would feel, because actually we who were only attending the darshan, we used to feel so tired. So you can imagine how tired Baba was, because he had to, he was the center of attraction, and in the hot summer days, see, Baba never liked the fan directly on him, and with all these garlands, with so much prasad to give out, and Baba was, with his loving hands, he was embracing somebody or taking a child on his lap. Baba was so active all the time. Although he was sitting there, he was very active all the time. And naturally, after the second accident, Baba's hip joint was all the time painful, and Baba always looked very tired, and naturally was burdened with his universal work. So this is one compassionate side of Baba, and how Baba would come down to our level of human beings. He would become a child with a child. He would become an old man with an old man. What else? A young with young. And with intellectuals, he would become an intellectual, so that, their intellect did not compare with Baba's. They would look fools in front of Baba, and so on.